Guilty, guilty, and guilty again.
Take that.
Man, sigh of relief, but the case against former Minneapolis cop Derek Chauvin is far from over. Federal prosecutors are considering bringing civil rights charges against him in the murder of George Floyd. That means if tried and convicted, he could serve even more time in prison.
Good.
Now, it's not clear how many years Derek Chauvin will spend in prison soon, but we got about 8 weeks before they make the sentencing, before they place the sentencing on him. But it could be decades. Now, since Chauvin has no criminal history, he could spend as little as 12 and a half years in prison, but the maximum sentence will lock him up,
The main thing I was upset about was the fact that he had a mask on, so I couldn't see how sick he was in his face. Like,
you can see it in his
You can
eyes.
see it in his eyes.
But I would love
eyes,
to
boy.
see like his
The
whole
whole face.
entire face.
You
You
want
get
to
what I'm
see
saying?
A little quivering lip.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I wanted
Something.
it so bad.
The shock. He
Come
looked
on.
like, what?
He was like me,
But
a
look-
white man.
It was a
really?
lack of satisfaction there, because like for a while I was there, it's like, oh yeah, that's Derek Chauvin, because like the mask, it robs you a little bit of the
Yeah.
satisfaction.
It gives you me, myself, and Irene. He gives what's his name? Jim Carrey up here when he was the police officer.
And what's interesting during the trial, a lot of legal analysts were saying like that they were nervous about that with jurors, because they said typically jurors will watch the defendant and they'll watch his face, the
To see if
defendant's
he's lying.
facial, see your facial expressions to see how you react to certain things. But it made it hard because he had the mask on, so
I
you
was
can't
pissed.
tell how he felt. But yeah, I mean, he definitely had a face of shock in my
was
opinion.
shocked.
And I feel like for me, like I was shocked, and that's the really sad part about
PTSD
it
is what we
that
have.
you're sitting there, you want the best, you're hoping for guilty, but like, so how many of us really thought he was going to be found
No,
guilty?
We've been disappointed
Like you were
so many
expecting,
times.
you
could have
were
went
waiting
either
for
way.
It could have
disappointment.
went either way.
It could have, but I
Thank
feel
God
like
it didn't.
in my mind, I was bracing myself for
Same.
him to be found not guilty. Like I figured the first charge, but the other two charges, which were they carried a heavier sentence, I was like,
But it came
man,
back
he probably
so
gonna
quick.
get off.
It
Yeah,
came
and
back
that-
so quick as
That made me hopeful, but
And then
just-
mixed messages that you see when you see the city getting ready to board up everything.
Yeah, it was just
like they got the
it
word
was
early, like it was about
here
to
we
go south.
Yeah, so again, I felt a lot of relief on my end, but still just very sad. Especially watching the whole trial. And it got to a point where after the first week, I know I had to stop. Like after probably going into
You
the
was
second
in there,
week,
Ange.
because it was just so
was
heartbreaking.
all
You're
in
seeing
there.
grown men cry. You're seeing, you're seeing like EMTs, professionals. You're seeing his own peers saying like that was not necessary. And
They
it was
already
just
said
sad.
he got transferred, so you know what to do if y'all listening. Do as you may.
Oh yeah, Boosie has plans, but it's out of his jurisdiction. I'll tell you about that in a second.
Yeah. Now, Vice President Kamala Harris, she spoke on the verdict and vows to continue urging the Senate to pass the George Floyd bill.
Today, we feel a sigh of relief. Still, it cannot take away the pain. A measure of justice isn't the same as equal justice. This verdict brings us a step closer, and the fact is, we still have work to do. We
Yep.
still must reform the system.
Yep, and in a bizarre twist of events, Speaker Nancy Pelosi was catching a whole lot of heat after she said this at a Congressional Black Caucus presser after the verdict as well. She had many people giving her the side eye when she said these words.
Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice, for being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? Call out for your mom. I can't breathe. But because of you and because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous.
Isn't that like the second time somebody said that?
Yeah.
I think. Why do they keep saying that?
I'm pretty sure
he's
he
a
much would
martyr.
rather be alive.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, she clarified her comments on Twitter. She said George Floyd should be alive today. His family calls for justice for his murder. We're heard around the world. He did not die in vain. We must make sure other families don't suffer the same racism, et cetera, et cetera. But
And then she said,
They
if
need to
I
hire
was
somebody
there.
black to help y'all write y'all speeches, man.
Right. They went in on her. Now we are going to take your calls and get your reactions on all of this, but we can't wrap up without giving major props and love to Darnella Frazier.
Yes.
At the time, she was 17 years old when she pulled out her phone and started filming everything as it was unfolding. Her video that the world saw was one of the most compelling pieces of evidence that was presented during the Derek Chauvin trial. Some pointed out that Darnella Frazier's video may have been the only reason that the police's original characterization of Floyd's killing, which they described as a medical incident during police interaction, was actually challenged. So a lot of people showing love to Darnella Frazier. She actually has I saw a GoFundMe up for her HBCU college
Run that up.
education. So yeah, much love to her. She's getting a lot of praise and appreciation.
Y'all help that stripper that fell and bumped her head on that pole about a year ago. Y'all need to look out for Darnella Frazier. I'm just saying.
I mean,
She's living a life now, by the way, here, Craig. They got a whole new life for her now, the one that fell off the pole.
Y'all help old girl with the PPP loan. Y'all better
Run it up for Darnella Frazier.
All right, I'm Angie. That's your trending topics. You can follow me at GoAngie, all one word, on the gram at Morning Hustle Show.
We are the Morning Hustle.